We have 4 of the best zero torque putters of 2025, which help promote consistency and stability in your putting stroke. Now, all of these putters do something fairly similar on paper, but one of them is way ahead in terms of performance. So let's dive into it. So we're going to start off with design, and we're going to start with the Odyssey AI1 Jailbird. This is the square to square with that classic Versa alignment, which, to be honest, when you're standing over the ball, it frames the ball really, really nicely. Now, you can see there's a fair bit of shaft lean already. So 3.3 degrees, obviously, is kind of leaning forward. So you're going to feel like you've got a bit more of a forward press going into the golf ball. But you've also got that AI1 insert as well with the urethane insert, which is going to give you that kind of classic white hot feel. But you've also got the 2 weights at the bottom, and then you've got this kind of little window here. But all of this is just going to help with giving you that high MOI and stability throughout the stroke. Moving on to the Lab DF3. Now, this has 69 degrees of lie angle from the shaft to the kind of heel of the putter, shall we say. So that's this little gap here, and it's just how the angle of the shaft sits into the center of the club. Now, this is CNC milled from a 6061 piece of aluminium. It's very clean. You've got obviously the weight at the back with a kind of halo shape here, more weight behind the putter face, more MOI. But not only that, you've got 8 screws in the sole of the club, making up for the swing weight of this putter. You've also got the milled face as well, which is just going to give you great sound and feel. But it's an interesting design. Lab are the ones who have kind of started the whole kind of trend of that lie angle balance or toe up design when it comes to zero torque putters. Okay, so moving into the PXG Hellcat. Now, this isn't a mallet, this is a blade, which we haven't really seen too many zero torque putters in that kind of blade style shape. You've got the S hosel, which you can kind of see kind of comes down as if it was going to go into the back center of this club head. But just with that design, it allows them to obviously give you that toe up finish. Now, this is a 303 bit of stainless steel. It's got that classic pyramid face design, which is going to give you great sound and feel of the face. Now, this is going to be more for the traditional golfer who prefers maybe a blade style. It's only got 1 degree of shaft lean, so it's not as severe as maybe other putters that are out there. It's definitely going to be a great option. All right, moving into the TaylorMade Spider, the 5K Zero Torque. Now, this joins the Spider family, which has obviously been incredibly successful. But this has, again, just like the PXG, only 1 degree of shaft lean. So it sits a little bit more neutral, but you can kind of see that even in the grip, the grip sits a little bit forward just to give you a little helping hand to get your hands in that more forward press kind of position. Now, on top of that, you have the classic Pure Roll insert. You've also got that True Path alignment with the nice kind of milling and alignment lines on the top to help you line up your ball more cleanly. Now, on the sole, you've got that 6061 aerospace grade aluminium as well as 3 pin weights, 1 on the toe, 1 on the heel, and then 1 more in the center. Again, with that mallet, more weight at the back is going to give you a higher MOI. But again, the way it's been designed, you've got that kind of toe up, zero torque, where it's just not going to move at all, and it's going to stay nice and square all the way through your stroke. Okay, now we're going to dive into sound and feel. I'm going to start with the PXG Hellcat. Now, with this putter, it's got quite a high-pitched sound when it comes off the face. It almost reminds me of a classic ping. It comes off quite soft though, which can kind of throw you, because sometimes with that sound you feel like it's going to jump. It does come off very soft. It takes a bit of getting used to, I would say. But again, if you're someone who likes a softer feeling putter, but maybe needs that kind of slightly louder, high-pitched kind of feedback, this is definitely going to be a good option. All right, up next is the Jailbird. Now, this has got a great kind of crisp and solid feel off that urethane insert. Classic white hot feel, but again, it gives you some pretty good feedback. I would say if you do kind of catch a little bit off the heel or the toe, it does still get to the hole, but it does feel a little bit different. So the consistency of the feel isn't maybe quite the same as some of the other options that we have. But again, it is a great sound and a great feeling putter, especially when you catch it off the middle of the face. Okay, moving on to the Lab DF3. Now, this is really, really well weighted. I actually really enjoyed putting with this. It's very smooth, very clean when it comes off the face, and the acoustics are really nice on the ear as well. You definitely get a nice combination of feedback from obviously contact with the ball and then the acoustic on your ear as well. Like I said, very well weighted and quite easy to get to grips with as soon as you have it in your hands. Lastly, we have the TaylorMade 5K ZT, and this is great. I actually found this really easy to get on with, especially from distance. The sound and feel is a little bit muted. It's a little bit more duller in tone in comparison to the three that I have here. And it's also soft, which gives you the feeling of being able to attack more putts, which I really like. So you can really take on those longer putts from distance and even attack those shorter ones, which are makeable even if you're saving par or birdie. But it was a great feel off that pure roll insert, and it really was very, very impressive. So lag putting, how did these 4 putters perform? Up first, we've got the Hellcat. Now, this was relatively good. It was just a little bit inconsistent in terms of the kind of front to back dispersion, but great from distance. If you can kind of oversee that high pitch kind of acoustic from this putter, you'll get on with it really, really well because it does perform from distance. Now moving into the Jailbird, this was actually really easy to get to the hole. When you kind of maybe mishit it, yes, it does maybe feel a little bit different from toe to heel if you miss it quite a bit, but you're always going to mishit those longer putts. But you're not going to struggle to get them to the hole with the Jailbird, and that's what I found. The jumps off the face, which is great, so if you are someone who maybe feels like you hit your putt short a lot, this insert is definitely going to help you get there. But you will find from distance, this is definitely going to perform, especially on those mishits. Now from that kind of 40-foot range, the DF3 really did perform. It's really smooth, very easy to kind of gauge and judge the distance on those longer putts. And so much so, when I hit those 9 putts from 40 feet, I had 7 out of 9 within that kind of 2-foot range. So giving myself great chances just for tap-ins when I'm maybe a little bit further away from the hole. Really nice to look down at as well. I think the alignment lines really kind of suit my eye. I just found it really easy to kind of line up. But from distance, it's really easy to get along with. Now when we come to the Spider ZT, this was one of my favorites from range. I actually found that I was able to get within that 2-foot range quite a lot. I also was able to scare the hole a lot of the time as well. So I was actually felt quite dangerous from distance with this. Just with that kind of the softer face, I felt like I was able to kind of attack the putts a little bit better. But yeah, absolute joy to use. And again, when it sits down behind the ball, it's not as aggressive as some of the shaft leans that maybe we have here. Quite neutral with that kind of 1 degree. But again, really easy just to push the ball in line, and combined with that pure roll insert, it really is just great from distance. Now from that shorter range from 8 feet, now the PGA Tour make just over 50% of these putts. So we hit 9 putts from that distance. Now with the Jailbird, I made 6 out of 9, so pretty solid, fairly easy to line up, especially with that Versa alignment. Just really nice when you're kind of looking down at it. The one thing I would say is the shaft lean and almost having your hands in that forward press may take a little bit of getting used to, but if you like that and you like that Versa alignment, you're really going to get on with this from those shorter distances. Right, moving on to the Hellcat. Now this actually really surprised me, especially in that kind of traditional blade shape, but 7 out of 9 putts hold from that 8-foot range. Really impressive, just really easy to kind of get a hold of. The one thing I did find was maybe it came off a little soft on a couple of them, which left me a little bit short. So I might have been able to hold a few more if that wasn't the case. But it's just great from those shorter distances and just being able to keep that face as square as possible all the way back and all the way through just to hit those putts directly on line every single time. Great putter, 7 out of 9. A lot to like about this. Now before I move on to the TaylorMade ZT, stay tuned to the end because I did say there was a putter that did stand out in performance, so just wait because it's coming up and you won't believe it. It was very impressive. But if we go with the TaylorMade ZT, the one thing that maybe kind of short-sighted me was sometimes the softness in that insert just got a little bit of the better of me and I left a couple short. So if I actually committed to 2 more of those putts, I probably would have been 9 for 9. But it's just so nice to line up, especially from short distances. The feel, the look, the fact that it's fairly simple in design when you look down at it. It's a classic Spider, but that stays square all the way through impact. It's just a great, great putter. So I told you there was a Standout. And the standout was the Lab DF3. Now we started with 9 putts and it was just automatic. I couldn't miss. So I hold 9 out of 9, but I kept going. I didn't miss a putt until the 18th putt. I hold 17 straight in a row with this. So from the shorter distances, it was just ridiculous. Now, it just shows you there is something about these zero torque putters. You know, the technology does work. They may not be for everyone, but there is something in this from those shorter distances where it's going to give you the best opportunity to hole putts. The DF3 was incredible from short range. The Spider was very impressive from distance. Something in between I'm kind of struggling to choose right now, but I'd probably lean more towards the Spider because I do find myself having a lot more putts from distance, but maybe when I start getting a little bit closer to the hole, I might go for something like the Lab DF3. But there is something here for everyone. There's loads of head options to choose from, so something that's going to fit everyone's eye. But the best thing you can do is go out and try these, especially if you are maybe struggling from distance to be a little bit more consistent, or you are trying to hole those shorter putts. But on that note, I've been James from Bunkered. We'll see you next time.